welcome to another Cheeky Girl Creations DIY video. So today I will be making one or two Christmas cards. I've been making a few just to give out to a few people, and I've been using this kit and some papers from my December box from 2017 themed Golden Christmas. That one is sold out though, as well as just some other Christmas papers I had gotten a while ago. I'm doing some of these Christmas cards just to use up a lot of papers I have. So I've done like a few birthday cards as well, and I might make another video showing you how I was using up some of those papers as well for birthday cards. So this kit is by, well, So Crafty, and I got this I think a couple years ago or so from a friend. She gave them to me because she knew I wanted to make some Christmas cards to sell at my Christmas markets. So it was a really good pack to like be able to make a set of cards, and I'll put those links below as well. So these are made differently from those set of cards. And I also use this paper pack as well. I'm not too sure who it's by, but like the name of it is Changing Seasons. I got this for my birthday last year, and I just use like the wooden kind of papers from it. So like these papers are from the kit, and I cut out a wreath, as you can see, using die cuts, and you'll see how I use those as well, and I'll show you the different papers that I've used. So I've made just a few different kinds. At the moment I've used up like all the dies I have, so I could always repeat one of these designs as well. I really like one of these. I've also been using pearl effects as well, just to add some shine and interest. And thankfully these papers work quite well together. So these are the dies I've been using. So this one I got in Michael's like 3 years ago, I think, by Hampton Art, and I've just been using that like tree. And these are all from X-Cut. So you can see this, the wreath, snowflake, the robin, that's in 2 parts, so that was useful. Christmas pudding, holly, which I used just one of them to embellish one of the cards, reindeer, and then this one says Happy Christmas, and this one, it says thank you for, no? Oh, just for you, sorry, just for you. But I was thinking I might use this little present in a card, possibly, as well as the bow, maybe. So yes, and I haven't used the sentiment because I have a whole bunch of sentiments in here, but again, I was thinking I might end up using that holly. So those are the dies. I've used most of them minus the sentiment ones. I have some foam stickers. I like to use those to add some oh, what's the word? I don't know, but just for them to stand out on the card, because then it looks a little bit more interesting. And then I've been using some pearl effects. I've only really used the red. I think I've used the green. I've used the black. I've used like the yellow, but I haven't used the rest. I haven't really had cause to. These are just to add just a little bit. And these are just some strips left over. So these papers are from the December box last year, and I've been using up quite a few of those, and I've been gutting them as well. So I'll show you what that means, but basically, like you say, I would take this and just cut out the middle so I can use more, because I only have one sheet of each design, and especially if I want to like use even a small amount of the design in something else, I can if I gut it. And then I've also been using these. I got this as a freebie from Card Making and Papercraft magazines years ago, years and years and years ago. And this is Holly Hobby Christmas Joy Paper Collection. There's 28 designs, and they're double-sided, so I've used quite a few, and again I've been gutting them because sometimes I like the design on both sides. So I've used quite a few of those, and these are just the scraps from there. And then these are from the kit itself. So you have quite a few sentiments in here. You have like the kind of plain sentiments, which is quite small. So there's like Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, Noel, Season's Greetings, in a few different designs. And then you also have these bigger ones. And I've only really used like one of these long ones, like one like this, one of the landscape ones. And the rest I've been using the small sentiments really. I haven't had cause to use also the big ones. And a lot of these are used up from the set I made. And there's a few more underneath here as well. Okay. And then I have the papers left over. So I've mostly used scraps of paper, so you can kind of see, I mean, these are the scrap cutouts, and you can see that I've used the circles on one of the cards. And then the rest of the cards like this. So I cut them out from that set of cards I made, and then I just have these like leftover bits. So I was using those first. And there's some like intact pieces as well, like this one. And I wasn't going to use any of them, but then I did actually the blue, so I used like one of the blue sheets. And I still have loads of papers underneath here. And all of these card blanks and envelopes are underneath here. So, I kind of have an idea of what I want to make. One of the cards I want to make is to thank somebody I met on my travels in the summer. Well, a Christmas card for her. So she helped me out when I got into a bit of trouble, which was really kind of her. So I want to send a card. And they're in Portugal, so I want to be able to write like Merry Christmas but in Portuguese. So that card will be slightly different. I won't be using any of the sentiments, but the same kind of like design. And then I just have to make two more? Yeah, two more of just like these kind of normal ones. So I shall put this into fast forward mode, and I will explain what I'm doing in voiceover while the video is playing, so you know what I'm doing, and I shall be back once I'm finished. Okay, so first I'm just going to neaten up the card edges. Sometimes card blanks aren't like folded very neatly, so I was just neatening that up a little bit. So I was only just cutting off a sliver. And I knew I really wanted to use that that snowflake like card, but I felt like I wanted something else behind it, since I was going to like put a snowman on top, and of course it would pop off of black instead of pink more. So I'm going to use that pink paper with the hollies on it. I'm just trying to pick out a sentiment that will go with it. This card is from my little sister, and for some reason she has a really weird pet peeve when it comes to sentiments that say Happy Christmas. She says it's supposed to be Merry Christmas. Don't ask me why. So I was just trying to find one that went with the card that said Merry Christmas. So once I found that, I'm just cutting the pink paper to like half a centimeter smaller than the card base, so that it only has a very thin border. And I'm just going to gut it. And whenever I gut it, I go in 1.5 centimeters. So it's a good wide border, so that I still have enough surface area that you don't see that I've gutted it once I put other papers over top, and there's still enough paper for that front paper to stick on. I hope I made that clear and I didn't just confuse you. So now I've cut that black snowflake paper down 1 centimeter smaller than that pink paper, so there's a wider border, because I didn't want to only have a very thin border of the pink paper. I wanted to be able to see it. And I'm also gutting it in the same way, 1.5 centimeters in. And you can see I am cutting on my guillotine, but I'm not putting a lot of pressure with the craft knife, so I'm not cutting my guillotine. I'm just cutting the paper just enough so then I can separate it. And I accidentally gutted the snowflake paper, but thankfully I did, because then I decided instead of panicking, I would just put the pink paper over top and then the black paper over top, and I really like how that looked. and I thought that would just be perfect because then the snowman will still stick out. So I've just quickly sketched out a snowman on some card. I don't have a snowman die cut, so I just had to freehand it. And I'm just using that Pearl Effect bottle just to make sure that my circles were even. And now I'm going to cut it out using my scissors. And after I cut that out, I will ink the edges with my Memento ink pad. I got that in my March mixed media subscription box, and I really love it because since it has like a nice small like point, it's perfect for edging small things, especially like that with curves. So I find that's really useful. And I'm adding all those details in with my Pearl Effects, and you can see the black, it kind of burped a little, so it sprayed across more than it should have, but it's okay because I'm just going to scrape off the excess, and then I'm just going to scribble over the dark mark with the Uniball Signal gel pen, and then I'm going to add a scarf which kind of covers up that mistake perfectly, so you don't really see it afterwards. I'm just going to flick it to flatten all those enamel effects. Oh, and I did use some gold for the carrot and the nose because I don't have any orange. And I'm just quickly sketching out a top hat. I thought it would be nice for her to have a hat, and it did come out a little bit smaller than I wanted it, but actually it worked out fine because I did end up putting it on a kind of like angle, so it would look kind of funky, so you didn't really notice how small it was. And I'm covering that with some red Pearl Effects, and then I'm going to put some black to kind of show where a ribbon or something would be, like so. So I'm going to put both of those to the side to dry, and I'm just trimming the edges of that sentiment. When you pop it out, it still has those kind of sticky outy bits, so I was just neatening that up. And I'm going to edge that and all my papers with my ink pad. I like to do that. It kind of grounds it and adds a little bit of definition, and it also just makes everything pop but like look good together since everything's edged with black. And I really like that look, especially if I do it in a kind of messy way. It has a bit of a grungy feel, so I quite enjoy inking my edges. And I do that on my cards and my art journals and stuff like that. I just really like that look. So I'm really happy with how that's looking, but I need to back the sentiment. So I did take some like gold paper and this gold paper that also has snowflakes on it. I thought it would look good, but then in the end I didn't actually like how it looks. So I did cut it out and like I curved the corners because I always curve the corners when I'm sticking my sentiments on paper because I find it would look strange if the backing paper had like pointy corners. But then I don't really need to round the corners of the card because I find it just needs it on the sentiment backing paper. And I inked it and everything to see how it would look, but I wasn't feeling it at all, so I'm going to use some pink paper, that same holly paper, so you can see how it looks there. Didn't look too good, and I just had that strip left over, so I'm going to cut it in half. I'm not going to use that, wait, will I? No, I'm using another strip from when I had cut it out at first to make this card. And I cut that strip in half and I'm going to stick that together with some washi tape. And then I'm going to round the corners, ink the edges, and then I really liked how that looked. I thought that looked a lot better, especially since I had been going pink, black, black, sorry, I don't know why I'm struggling to say black today. And then of course pink again for underneath the sentiment. So I'm adding that black edge. You can see it stands out a lot more when I do that. And then I'm going to stick that down with some tacky glue since that sentiment is a little bit glossy anyway. So now I'm going to stick all those papers together. Normally I use my tape runner, which you'll see in a bit, but because I've gutted everything, the edges are quite small, so I thought tacky glue would be better, especially since I was getting tacky glue on the table because those edges were so small. And I'm just going to gut that pink paper very quickly. And I know it's only like a little bit left, but I really like the back side as well because it's nice and white. To be honest, I'm only using the pink because my sister, one of my sister's favorite colors is pink, so I thought I would do that for her because I don't normally use pink. Sometimes I do in my art, but I'm not a humongous fan of the color. So I would have most likely used like the white. So I really do like the white, which is why I was gutting it so much. So I'm using that tape runner now, and I'm just making sure to go over like diagonally to catch all those papers since they were all like kind of cut, and then adding some tacky glue on the edges that don't have tape runner on it, and that will stay nice and firmly in place. So I'm putting some foam squares on the back of that sentiment piece. I like to add quite a bit of dimension on my cards, so I thought that would look nice. And now I'm going to use some of that Dovecraft Enamel Effects. The white one's called Enamel Effects, slightly different from the Pearl Effects, but same kind of thing. And I'm using that to add some snow for the snowman to stand on, and some snowflakes as well. And once I've finished adding all those touches and sticking on the hat there, you can see how I've kind of tilted it. I'm going to flick it to flatten those enamel dots. So I'm going to stick the sentiment down, and I just put some tacky glue over those foam squares because I don't trust them too much on a textured surface. I find they don't like to stick too much on that, so I just thought I would help them along with some tacky glue. And now I'm adding some foam squares to the snowman, and I'm going to stick that down now as well. And now I'm going to be able to add her arms using some gold as well, since I don't have any brown, but I thought it looked quite nice. It's not an extremely bright gold. It does kind of look a little bit vintagey, so I thought that would work perfect. And now I'm just adding some highlights with my Uniball Signal pen. I'll add it to the arms once they're dry. And I'm also going to go around the edges of the sentiment and all the papers. I felt it just looked a little bit dark and it just needed to be brightened up a little bit. So I'm adding all of that, and again, that looks a bit grungy, and I really love how that turns out, and I hope she likes it for Christmas. So I'm just finishing off, and I will go over to the next card in a little bit after I add these little snowflakes, not snowdrops, sorry. There's a quick close-up. And now for the next card. So I picked out some papers and I cut out those presents off camera. I also wrote the sentiment in Portuguese, and I think you say it Feliz Natal, something like that. I know I'm most likely mispronouncing it. So I was just knitting up the card base, and I'm picking out that paper, so I'm cutting that to size, again 1/2 centimeter smaller than the card base, so I have a thin border. And then I'm going to cut the blue paper quite a bit smaller so that I have a nice wide border with that. So you can see I'm just figuring out how I wanted it, and the camera died, so I lost some lighting. I explain more at the end. So I just prepped everything since you had seen me do it on the previous card, inking the edges and all that. I think I cut it like 2 centimeters smaller than the white paper so that there was a nice wide border. I also edged the sentiment and sorted everything out with that, and I added some like blue papers in little white squares with in between the presents, and you'll see that in a little bit, to stick those presents like in the sentiment bit, because all my sentiments had a little bit of like decoration anyways, so I wanted to do that. And I'm using some red paper that's also from the card kit to back the sentiment, and of course some foam squares. And this card design turned out quite simple, but I really did like how it turned out. And you can see that I added some highlights to the presents using my Uniball Signal pen, and now I'm just sticking all of that on with some tacky glue. And I felt that everything looked a little bit plain, so after I'm adding those pearl effects to the bow just to add some shine, and you can see it splurged a little bit on one of those bows, so I just neatened that up. I felt it needed some more shine and some more interest, so I'm just going to go around and cover some of those dots on the paper with the pearl effects. So I added the red, and it looked good, but I felt that it still wasn't enough, so after I flicked it to flatten it all, I added some green, and I'm also going to add some white enamel effects as well. And I really liked how that turned out. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. I shall talk to you in a little bit, and I shall see you soon. Bye! Okay, so I'm all done. Sorry that the lighting changed. My camera died and I went to put it to charge, but I forgot to turn on the charger. So I'm using my sister's light at the moment. So I'm all done. This one turned out quite simply. I just added these like pearl effects, and this one is called enamel effects, but it's all by Dovecraft. Just to add a little bit more interest. You can't see it too well, especially since this light is so bright, but you'll see it in photos at the end of the video, of course. So, and I also added those enamel effects as well to this one, and I'm really happy with it. It curled a little bit. That's probably because of all like the papers and stuff on it, but that'll flatten over time. And with your enamel or pearl effects, make sure not put any weight on them for a while, because they do stay tacky for quite a bit, and you don't want it to stick to anything and ruin your card. So I'll leave this to dry for a bit before I go and touch it. Give you a quick close-up again. So yeah, I'm really happy with how these turned out. I'll quickly show you the rest. Of course. So that should be it for this season, I believe. I shall have photos of all of them up at the end of the video, and I shall link any of my Christmas cards or any other products that are Christmas related down below. I have ornaments, wrapping paper, Christmas cards, gift tags, yeah, so I shall link that all below. My mixed media box for December themed muted tones is still available for pre-order, so if you're interested in that, please do check that out. Links are below as well, and I'll also link the previous boxes that have been marked down to 12. The original price was 18, and I shall also link the playlist to all those previous boxes unboxing videos so that you can see what's in the box, just in case you want to buy a past box, then you can see exactly what's in it. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please do give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and please do click that bell to notify you whenever I upload a video. And I want to thank all my subscribers who are sticking with me. The number keeps on growing, so thank you very much for that. So thanks again for watching, and please join me again for another video soon. Bye!